Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be posting part 6 through 14 right now. I see that it didn't do well in my algorithm, but I'm going to continue to post the parts because the very few that did see it may want to continue on with the parts. So here's 6 through 14.
Before I found out about all of the lies, he explained to me about how he met his ex-wife. He told me that him and his ex-wife, they met in high school. They were actually high school sweethearts, went to prom together, the whole nine. They had been together for years. He told me that shortly after they graduated, they decided to go ahead and get married down in Louisiana. And he told me that him and her were unable to ever conceive a child due to the fact that he was very obese in the earlier part of his life and also up until around the age of 28, because he did tell me that he got the gastric sleeve surgery. He told me that it was impossible for him to have kids. His stuff just didn't work. And I said, wow, that's crazy. He said, and to be honest with you, it is so crazy that you got pregnant by me, because I didn't ever think I would be able to have kids. I said, well, I mean, you done lost a lot of weight, babe. Like, I'm trying to be encouraging. I'm trying to let him know, like, hey, you're not big no more. Because at that point, I saw that there was a lot of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Low self-esteem there. So I was like, I don't want you to start feeling insecure about yourself. It's okay. So we move on. He talks to me about the whole story, about what I said in part 5, about how he caught her cheating with the man, yada, yada, yada. So as I have now currently found out that he was never married, I approach him about it. I say, hey, I could not find a divorce decree or marriage license for you and your ex-wife. I said, so of course, I have told you this before, and I'm going to tell you this again. If I ask you a question, I already know the answer to it. So you might as well go ahead and let me know. Have you ever been married in your life? That man looked at me like he always do. And he sat with that shit. And he said, yeah, we got married. Yeah, babe, I told you I was married. I said, okay, cool. All right, cool. So once again, I had to tell him, I talked to your daddy. Your daddy said you ain't never been married to Paris. He had to flip that shit so quick. He said, I don't really want you talking to my daddy. I said, and why is that? He said, because my daddy lie a lot. Go figure. I said, okay. He said, of course my daddy ain't gonna tell you about Paris, because I caught him trying to fuck Paris at a house party. I said, do what? He said, yeah, the nigga trying to fuck his own daughter-in-law. I said, come on, bro. He said, man, my dad get high, he get drunk, he get fucked up, and to be honest with you, he will try to fuck you too. I'm gonna just be honest. And I said, no, I don't get that from Pop. I don't get that from Pop. Now, I do understand that people have a past. There may have been times where his daddy may have gotten a little too loose in certain situations, but I did not believe that his daddy tried to hit on the ex-girlfriend. And at this time, he was saying his ex-wife. I did not believe that. So I ended up finding Paris on Facebook. I did not approach her. I did not communicate with her at all. But I did go to her Facebook page, and I did notice that she was currently still living in Houston, Texas. She did have on her profile that she was single. There were no pictures of her and Jared. She was currently in Houston. Like, there were pictures of her at different places in Houston. Different places. She was not in Germany. She was not in Germany. Not at all. And she does not even look like the type that would even be a teacher. I really don't know what her profession is, but she did not look like that type. So he said, and speaking of Paris, she was at my job 2 weeks ago. I said, at your job doing what? He said, she was up there with her homegirls. I said, but I thought you told me that she lived in Germany. He said, man, she told me that she was back for a couple of weeks. He's still lying. Still fucking lying. I said, he here for a couple weeks. If she here for a couple weeks, I said, that doesn't even make sense, Jared. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. So, and all in all, I did get him to admit to me that he had never been married. He ain't never had no kids, and he never did live in that house. I did get him to admit that. And I also told him, I said, Jared, I do know that you were born in said hospital at said time and said date. I said, so right now, this is the time where we really stop the lies, because for whatever reason, you have a problem. And I'm not the type of woman that you have to lie to, because I would have liked you regardless without the lies. Now, granted, people, I do know that there were several red flags before we got here. I already know this. In the back of my head, I knew that I didn't want to be a woman with two babies, two baby dads. I ain't want that for my life. So I tried working with him through it. On the next part, I will tell you about how we tried to do counseling, premarital counseling, and how they went. Part 6, part 7, the lies he told. So now we're moving into that place where we really need to do premarital counseling. And honestly, we need to do personal counseling. He needs his own therapist. I need my own therapist. And I told him, I said, I am willing to walk and to work with you through anything, but you cannot continue to keep lying to me. You cannot keep doing this. I told him that I was unaware if he had been lying his entire life, but I know that I am going to continue praying for you. I still wanted to be married. I still desired to be married so badly. And I stuck with that man through premarital counseling, through all of that. So we started going through counseling. And I'm not going to lie, the lady handled the both of us with a lot of grace. She triggered a lot of demons within that relationship. She really did. Up to the point where he told me, he said, hey, I think she's biased. I really want a male to do our counseling. Let's not go to her anymore. And I agreed. I told him, I said, if you feel that way, I do want the both of us to be comfortable. So if you do feel that she is biased, or, if you don't think she's the best fit, we can most definitely move forward with another counselor. So we tried allowing my cousin and his wife to counsel us. And then that's when I broke the ice and I told them, y'all, this man is literally an habitual liar. Like, he is a liar. And I don't know if I am taking the right step here. They told me that I should basically investigate on why he's lying like this. And what, like, in other words, ask him, why does he feel like he needs to lie to you? And then build from there. And they worked with us. Now, his reason to all of us for why he was lying was because he knew that in order to keep a woman of my caliber, he knew that he was going to have himself together. He knew that. And what dawned on me so crazy was that I had dated men that didn't have a dime to their name, and they still was honest and they still was trustworthy. And then I turned around and got crossed up with a man that did nothing but lie to me. He was paying some bills, but I deserved better. So, and all in all, marriage counseling did not work for us. Well, premarital counseling, it did not work for us. I prayed. I got through it. He went to every doctor's appointment with me, for kid. He was there every step of the way. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? Like, I'm going to take this chance. It was stupid. It was the dumbest thing. But once again, this was on me. This was totally on me. So I knew that I was dealing with a liar. I knew the things that he lied about. That was one thing. But I also told him, like, hey, don't lie to me about nothing else. Like, let's not do that. So now I want to take you into meeting his mom. Part 8, the lies he told. So at this time, I tell him, like, hey, I really want to go ahead and meet your mom. We, at least at this point, anywhere between 2 to 3 months in the game. I said, hey, I really feel like it's time that I meet your mom. You've met my family. I've met only your father. I met a couple of your cousins when we was over there visiting with your dad. So let me meet your mom. He tells me, babe, remember I told you my mom is a doctor and, her availability is a little tight. I said, okay, cool. I said, but still, I really do need to meet her. Now, prior to me meeting her, when he told me that his mama was a doctor, when I found out his mama name, I did a Google search because he told me that she owned her own practice, and she did, it was like she was like a primary care physician. Like, she did everybody, babies, adults, she was just a PCP all around, but she had her own practice. Now, I looked up all practices in Houston, Texas, and surrounding areas. Her name did not come up as being a physician. Her name did not come up as being someone that owned their own practice. So I was concerned about that as well. And so he contacted her. He never told me like a date and a time that we were going to meet. One Saturday, I was at home. I probably was laying in the bed. He called me because he was at work at Feeling Lyrics, and he said, babe, my mom, she gonna pull up. If you want to meet her, you can come on through. Bet, I'm on my way. Put on clothes, got up there, and his mama came roughly shortly after I got there. Excuse me. I said, I walked outside, I went and met her, and I said, hi, it's so nice to meet you. He said, mama, this is Jillian, this is my mama. I said, it's really nice to meet you. She looked me up and down, and her first question to me was, who is your OBGYN? Ma'am, hello? How you doing, ma'am? Who's your OBGYN? I said, Dr. Kathy Sander at Kelsey Seabold, one of the best in the nation. Okay, I know some folks over at Kelsey Seabold. I can always make a phone call if I need to. Now, at the time, I'm looking because I'm saying to myself, oh, maybe she's just concerned about the well-being of her grandchild, and if something were to ever happen, maybe, if I needed assistance or something, she could make a phone call. That's not what that was at all. Not what that was at all. After she asked that question, I said, oh, okay. And she said, so I have another question, though. You and him, y'all met pretty fast. You already pregnant by him? Trying to insinuate that there is no way that I could be pregnant by her child. Ma'am, it have been 2 or 3 months. We have been back to back, ma'am. So yeah, this is baby. This most definitely his baby. Ain't nobody else been at my house but your son. Yes, ma'am, this is your baby. So that had already put a bad sour taste in my mouth about her, because now you asking inappropriate questions in our first conversation at that. So I had a little trouble trying to have respect for a woman that was so disrespectful to me at the very first attempt. So later on that day, he comes home, or later on that night, he comes home, and I say to him, hey, I didn't really want to bother you about this when you was at work. However, it really bothered me about what your mom said when I met her. And he said, well, what did she say? Because I really wasn't kind of paying attention. And granted, he was not. He was at work, so he kind of left us alone a couple of times. And I mean, after she said what she said, I kind of like walked off, and I was like, all right, I'm about to go ahead and go back to the house, because that's weird. I remember calling my mama and telling my mama, hey, I met Jerry mama. Boom, this is what she said. My mama was like, what type of bullshit is that? My mama, y'all ignorant, and I'm gonna get to her too. So I told him, I said, I didn't really appreciate that. He asked me what she said. I ran it to him and he said, babe, I had already told you, I really didn't want you to meet her. He always referred to her as her first name. He never really called her mom. He never did. So I said, okay, I said, I understand that you told me that she really didn't like any of your past relationships or past women or whatever. However, I am going to be the mother of your first child. Like, does that not ring a bell to her? I said, is she not gonna be like a grandmama type, you know, somebody that we will be able to rely on to like help us with the kid? He said, oh yeah, she'll be good for that. I'm sure she's pretty excited about the baby, but this all just happened so fast. Granted, it did happen so fast. Okay, cool. I said, no problem. So I get on the phone, you know, me and his daddy, we chopping it up, and I tell his daddy, I said, you know, hey, you know, I met his mom, you know, where does she work at? Because Jared told me she's a doctor, and she had the audacity to be asking me all about my position name and stuff like that. I said, so you know what's her deal? He said, man, that's just who she is, bro. That's just who she is. She always been like that. He said, but wait a minute now, she ain't no damn doctor. I'm gonna tell you that now. He said, if anything, she's an LVN. I said, an LVN? He said, man, that girl a damn nurse. She ain't no. He said, I don't even think she's a registered nurse. I said, no, bro, this woman got to be a doctor. She got to be a doctor. Like, ain't no way this man that told me that his mama is a damn doctor and she's a damn LVN or an RN. His daddy never lied to me. Do you hear me? His daddy never lied to me. Come to find out, his mama was an RN going to school to be a nurse practitioner at the time that I met him. When I tell you, when I had that conversation with his daddy, I waited a couple of days or so. And I asked him, he was driving me somewhere. And I asked him, I said, your mama a doctor where again? He said, remember, you know, I told you she got her own practice or whatever. I said, your mama RN. Your daddy told me your mama RN. He said, no, my mama most definitely a doctor. I said, okay, babe. I said, call your mama right now. Call her on the phone right now. And he did. But he did not put his mama on speakerphone. But I seen him dial his mama number. He said, Mom, what you tell me you was in school for? She obviously answered. I have no idea what she said to him. And she asked him, why you asked me that? He said, I just couldn't remember what you told me you was going to school for. He hung up. I said, so is she a doctor or not? He said, she's in school to get her master's in nursing. I said, so she's not an MD. Your mama ain't no doctor. I said, so that's not making any sense to me. Once again now, that's another lie that he told that he could have killed. Why in the world would you tell somebody that your mama is a full ass MD when she ain't nothing but a damn RN? Why would you say that? Part 9, I'm going back to the timeline of our relationship, but I had to get that out about me meeting his mom. Part 9, the lies he told. I stated at the very end of part 8 that I was going to get back to the timeline of our relationship so that I can really get down to the nitty gritty of why I am doing this testimony. I do want to clarify a couple of things before I start part 9, however, because I do see all of your comments, the negative ones and the positive ones. To address a couple of the negative ones, I understand that you may be confused. Maybe you're expecting me to be exactly like Miss Risa Tisa. That's not going to happen. I'm a totally different woman and I have a totally different story. It may sound similar, but trust and believe, hands were thrown in mine to the point where almost was some killing happening. So I'll get to that. But, you know, let me just be clear that I'm going to tell this story the way that I'm going to tell it. And if you can't stick around for it, try to go and watch somebody else, because it looks like a lot of women now are coming out with their own story. So thank you for sticking around how you have, but I'm gonna keep moving, pushing forward. Another thing that I want to clarify, I see a lot of people are still confused about the whole car situation with the tag. That was his mama's car. That was his mama's tag. Okay. The alleged baby was not his real daughter. His dad told me that, and I confirmed that that was not his real baby. I also confirmed that he was never married. I have also confirmed that he never owned a house with his ex-wife. I confirmed that his ex-wife was not in Germany teaching. I have confirmed a lot of things so far. So if you hadn't gotten caught up, try to watch parts 1 through 8. And now we're going back to part 9. All right. So moving along with the timeline. It's all screwed up, guys. It's extremely screwed up. I don't have dates. I'm gonna just be honest. Just keep in mind, my initial meeting with him was January 5th. By the end of January or the beginning of February, we met at my house to have pizza, to have a discussion. We did have a one-night stand that night. He never left. He gradually started moving things in over a course of time. February 28th, we got engaged. In March, sometime in March, I met his mom. Let's not forget, I had already met the dad in February. And so around April, May-ish, we are trying to do premarital counseling. So that's the timeline of the events right there. Also in March, we did go to Mississippi to meet my family. So that's the timeline right there. Short, sweet, simple. Don't add none to it. Don't take none away from it. It's cool. We got married June 29th, 2020. Before we got married, there are a couple of things that I want to note before the marriage started. Both of us have always had 2 cellular devices, one personal, one for work. I assumed that his second phone was always from work. He told me that the co-owners of Phil and Derek's bought that phone for him, and that's his work phone. That's where he get his work emails. That's where customers can call to make reservations in with him, leave bad reviews, whatever the case may be. I literally believed all of that. Come to find out, that was a lie. That was another phone that man had that he was paying the bill on, because I could never understand why that phone kept getting cut off. He could not handle 2 phone bills, because mind you, he's still paying all of my household bills. He paying everything. However, I am the type to go through the phones. I am. So I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. So before marrying him, I sat in the tub one night, and this will be extremely hard for me to get out. So just bear with me. The night before I married that man, I had already been praying. I had already been asking God, please fix him. And I know that's the wrong prayer. I do. I ain't no weak Christian. Now I'm pretty put together, but at that time in my life, I was vulnerable. I desired to be married. I really did. I said, God, I have been praying for this man. I have been praying for this relationship. I have been praying over this baby that isn't here yet. I do really, really care for him. And I really think and really know that he cares for me and my son. And I was talking about my oldest at the time. I said, so I need a sign. I need you to let me know if this is my husband or not. Immediately in my spirit, I felt no. I heard an audible voice tell me, this is not your husband. No. My mom was in town. My mom and my sister, they were at the house with me. And I never told them this. But God told me no. He told me no. And that next day, I still went along with it. And the sign that God gave me after telling me no was him coming home. And we had a disagreement about something. And he looked at me and he said, you ain't got to marry me if you don't want to. There should have been my chance there to say, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm probably not. We can go ahead and call all this shit off. I was the one that paid for the ceremony at the judge's office because we didn't get married at a courthouse. We got married at a law firm. Y'all know that attorneys are judges. So, or judges are attorneys. I'm sorry. So we got married at his law firm office. We could only have a maximum of 12. His dad and his stepmom were the only two that showed up. His mother was not in attendance. But God had already showed me in so many ways from the lies and from the behavior that was coming that he was not meant to be my husband. I moved extremely fast with this man. I fell for the okie doke. I was stupid. I was confused as well. I was extremely vulnerable. And my heart felt that we could make it work. My heart felt that. Don't ever listen to your heart. Don't ever listen to your heart. Listen to God. Listen to God because God will never, ever fail you. And now I would like to move on to part 10 to take you through, after the ceremony, everything that occurred until the end of my divorce. Part 10, the lies he told. So, right after the ceremony, we go to this restaurant in the Woodlands. It was a seafood restaurant. We got married on a Sunday, and my mom and my sister, they had to fly back out. So it was just me, him, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law, like the stepmother-in-law, I guess that's how you would phrase it. And so we're there. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm in La La Land. I'm like, you know what? I'm finally married. I'm Mrs. such and such. And I said, this feels amazing. We went home that night, do what lovers do. And, we moving on with life. I'm currently working from home. I'm pregnant. My boss at the time was like, hey, I don't want you to come in. I don't need you to be exposed. I want you and the baby to, be okay. So as time moves on, he was still actively working. He would come home, things were on the up and up. Then all of a sudden one day I got a messenger message from a young lady. For purposes of this story, her name is Erica. And Erica reached out and said, would you divorce your husband if he was cheating on you? And she just kept typing, kept hitting. And it went to my message request, so I didn't initially see it at first. And so she was like, I really need you to contact me. I need you to hit me up. Is there any way that I can get your number? She just going. And I'm like, man, who is this woman? Who is this? So by the time I get to her Facebook page or whatever, I get her full name and I ask Jared. I say, Jared, do you know this woman? He tells me, yeah, that's a stalker bitch. I said, a stalker bitch? He said, yeah, man, I was fucking with that girl for a little minute, man, and she just downright crazy. She done hit up every woman that I've been with since her. Don't pay her no mind, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay. And I said, so how she get my information? Because you got her blocked on. He told me she was blocked on everything. He said, man, I don't know. She probably went to my daddy page, seen your name, because his daddy did post pictures nonstop of me. Always posted pictures of us together, posted pictures of our marriage, posted pictures of me. When I would post pictures, he would repost the pictures. Was my dog for real, still to this day, my nigga. And so I said, okay, that's kind of strange. So I responded back to her, being the woman that I am, coming woman to woman. Hey, sis, I'm Mrs. such and such. Mrs. MRS, period. Being the biggest dumb bitch in the world. I said, I know my motherfucking man. He go to work. He come home. He ain't, I already know that you a stalker. I know this, that, and the third. And so I blocked him. This woman did try reaching out to me on Instagram later on, in the story, all of that type of stuff. And I am going to get back to her. So something led me to start going through his devices. He did have two phones, one personal, one work phone. So I would always go through his phone when he was asleep. The reason I started going through his phone was because the phones would start vibrating in the middle of the night. Who calling you at 3 o'clock? Who calling you at 3? People were texting and contacting him from text-free numbers. I would try to call the number back. It would say, welcome to text-free, or however the little audio go when they don't answer the phone. So I'm like, all right, that's strange. Who are all these numbers, these random numbers? I had no idea who these people were. And at the time, I didn't even know if it was multiple people. I just thought that it might have been the crazy woman that he claimed was a stalker bitch. Come to find out, that wasn't the case at all. It wasn't the case. So I would still go and visit him, like at the restaurant and things like that. And one night, he came home and he said, babe, I'm about to start applying for other jobs. I said, what's wrong with feeling dares? He was like, to be honest with you, babe, I ain't trying to be up there no more. I said, okay. He said, they working me like a Hebrew slave. You know, I need to make adjustments because you're about to get ready to have this baby, because my due date was November 15th. He said, so I need to make sure that I am at a place where I can get FMLA, because believe it or not, he did tell me that at Phil and Derek's, he did not have any insurance benefits whatsoever. And I believed him because, I mean, it was, I ain't gonna say to come in because y'all will fire me up about that, but you know, more businesses that are us's, they don't offer a lot of benefits. You know, sometimes you can barely get paid. Sometimes. So he started actively looking for other positions. He finally landed at Fish City Grill in Sugar Land, Texas. We at the time lived on the border of Cypress, Texas. So Sugar Land is a hike. It ain't that bad, but it ain't down the street either. Phil and Derek's went down the street either, but you know, all right. And so he says, babe, I got an interview. They're going to be paying me, I want to say that man told me they won't be paying him $65,000 a year. It was going to come with benefits, insurance, FMLA. So it worked out perfect. I said, okay, babe, that's perfect. He said, so when this lease is up here, I will commute right now, which he did. He commuted for a good 4 or 5 months. He said, I will start commuting, but when the lease is up, let's try to look for a house. And then, you know, maybe we can find something that'll be closer out that way. See, the thing about a narcissist is they'll try to isolate you from your family, because my family lives out here in Cypress. Yes, I'm from Mississippi, but my Mississippi family, they're out here. My help is out here. I said, okay, babe, we married. So, you know, I'm like, all right, I'm going to support you. You know, we going to do such and such. So he starts working at Fish City Grill. When he starts working at Fish City Grill, one beautiful day in October, I am headed out for not only a nail appointment, but I am headed out for to vote. It was voting time. I don't even know who I was going to vote for, but I was going to vote. I get to the third stair in the townhome. I slip and fall, and I roll over. And when I pick my leg up, my foot was hanging like Dak Prescott was. I had broke my ankle in 3 places. There was no one at home with me. He was in Sugar Land and Fish City Grill. The God thing about this is that I had my key in my hand that had the fob to the garage, so that anybody that needed to come through, they could come through the garage, whether there was a paramedics, anybody in my family. So I immediately called my cousin, Coco. And Coco said, hey, what's up? I am in pain. I'm crying. And I tell her, I just fell down the stairs. I'm about to give birth by November 15th. It had to be like October, maybe 20th. Don't quote me on the date. And I said, I just fell. I fell down the stairs. She like, oh shit, I'm on my way. She called 911. They both make it around the same time. They get me up on the stretcher. She's on the phone with Jared. She's like, hey, she just fell down the stairs. He's panicking. He's like, okay, I'm on my way. I'm coming to get there. I'm gonna be there. I get to the emergency room. It takes him quite a while to get there because he's coming from Sugar Land. And I'll finish the story in part 11. Part 11, the lies he told. So he makes it to the hospital. He has relieved Coco. She's headed out. I believe she had to go to work that day, but we truly appreciated her coming through. Shout out to you, Coco. He gets on the phone. He calls my parents. He calls my job. He lets everybody know what has happened. And he's there. He's present. At that time, he was the husband that I needed him to be. It came back that I had broke my ankle in 3 different places. All of us knew that surgery was going to have to happen. Surgery had to happen before I had the baby. This happened mid-October, and I was scheduled to give birth on November 15th. I don't do C-sections, guys, so, and that might be a little TMI, but I did not know that I wasn't going to make it to November 15th. First baby, I made it full term. I actually had him a week late. So with this baby, it was different. I went into my provider. They let me know, hey, we're going to have surgery scheduled. I think I fell like on a Tuesday, and surgery was I think surgery was that following Tuesday, like the next Tuesday. So I was in a splint at home for a while. I went to the hospital. I had the surgery. He was there when I woke up. He made sure everybody knew that I was fine. And we went home. Now, I lived in a townhouse, so everything was on the 2nd floor, where things started getting shaky for me. And when I noticed that this probably wasn't going to be a nice ride moving forward because I was immobile, I could not make it up the stairs. I was a lot bigger than him at the time, and there was no way that he could carry me up the stairs. So guys, I had to use my arm strength to get up the stairs, 1 stair at a time, pulling myself with my upper body strength. It was hurtful. It was painful because I was pregnant. He still continued to go to work. He never stayed at home with me. He never told his boss like, hey, my wife needs me at home. I just really sat there and had to figure out life on my own. I still had to go to my appointments at the doctor. So when I went to the doctor, to my OBGYN told me within the next 2 weeks, because that's when I had an OBGYN, the next appointment. And she told me, she said, hey, you're only 2 centimeters dilated. I said, I'm dilating already? I said, the baby ain't due though till like November 15th. She was like, yeah, well, you're 2 centimeters dilated. She said, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you gonna have these Braxton Hicks. So just, deal with it. I mean, I know that you're in pain because of your ankle, but it is what it is. And during this time I had a knee scooter. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna deal with it. And so I'm still inching myself up the stairs every now and again. I went to the doctor on a Wednesday. That night at 11 o'clock, my water broke. I was about to get ready to have that baby. He was at home, and the way that he handled it, it broke my heart. He was in more of a panic and an attitude than I could ever be. I was so calm. I called my grandma. I called my mom, and I said, y'all, my water just broke. I'm about to get ready to have this baby. They said, and you can't walk? I said, I can't walk. I can't get down the stairs. Called the ambulance. 4 of the most gracious men came, and they said, we're not going to drop you. We got you. I was so scared. I had so much anxiety because I had already had anxiety from falling down those stairs, and to be taken down on a stretcher, pregnant, water broke, my husband all over the place, just a lot. I didn't even have my bag packed to go to the hospital. So I make it to the hospital. During COVID, there were certain restrictions. There was no way that it took my husband 4 hours to get to me while I was sitting in the room by myself going through those contractions. I have no idea where that man was for 4 hours. No idea. I sat in the room, and it was like the emergency room. So I sat there by myself, having those contractions. They could not give me anything. They could not give me anything because I was on blood thinners. I did not have an epidural. I had that baby just as natural, and I suffered through all of those things. All of those things. They finally put me in a room. There was no doctor in the room, but there was a nurse in the room and a nurse that was in training in the room. At around 3:30, my beautiful baby boy popped out with no doctor in that room and rolled on that bed. And he was at the bottom of the bed to catch it. And as soon as he caught that baby, he fell out. Fell out. And so I'm crying. I'm trying to, get myself together because now everybody rushing in the room, doctors coming in, everybody, they're like, oh my God, oh my God. So they're putting the baby under the light or whatever that is to the right. And they come to me and they said, ma'am, your husband is going to be okay. And I looked and I said, what you mean my husband going to be okay? They said he fell out. I had no idea that none of this had happened. I said, what you mean he had fell out? Do y'all know when that bitch came back in that room, he looked at me and he said, I can't even look at you right now because I saw you with all of your insides hanging out of your body. And that disgusts me. That disgusts me. And after hearing him say that, my whole world shut down. One of the most beautiful times of my life was a complete joke and a complete insult at that point. That man got on that couch to the left of my bed and he slept for the rest of the night. And I sat up and I looked at that beautiful baby. And I knew then that this marriage was not going to last longer at all. Because how could you say that to me after having your first baby? How could you say that to somebody? You gagging, you making a say, doing that while telling me. That's the most fucked up thing that you could tell a mother that just could have lost her life for bringing life. How could you do that? I'm on a knee scooter still. My ankle, messed up. He left the next morning and he went to work. I was there by myself with the nurses. And I knew that I was in good hands because I was at the hospital. You always in good hands when you're at the hospital. But shout out to those nurses because they helped me. I appreciate that. So he would come back after he got off of work and everything, but it wasn't the same because he told me prior that he had FMLA. Then part 11, the lies he told. So part 12, the lies he told. So I contacted the job, his manager at his job, and they did not know that I had the baby. They told me that, hey, we will allow him to have as much time as he needs off, but he would need to let us know this type of information because he hasn't said anything. We knew that you were expecting. We just didn't know that you had already had the baby. I said, okay. He said he did tell us about the ankle, but he never told us anything about you having the baby. But congratulations. I said, thank you so much. He got upset with me for calling his boss. Why would you do that? Why would you call up there? I need this job. I said, what is the problem? Like, you have FMLA. Why didn't you submit the paperwork? He went all around the world about, I did submit it. And, they told me that I hadn't been there long enough to get it, yada, yada, yada. But they told me that I could use my PTO days. Now, I do know that sometimes you do have to be on a job for a little minute before you can do FMLA. Now, I don't know about restaurant jobs, but I know in corporate America, you can't just get a job there and be 7 months pregnant and then expect for them to give you FMLA in 2 months. It really don't work that way. And if your job do it, don't knock mine because mine don't do that. But anyway, so I believe that. I was like, okay, no problem. So I get out of the hospital. We get home. It should not be a surprise that he never did get up with the baby at night. I slept on the couch. When I slept on the couch, I would get up with my knee scooter when the baby cried. I would go to my little baby Breezer, make him a bottle, give him the bottle, burp him, go back to sleep. I did that tirelessly until I couldn't anymore, until I really didn't need the knee scooter no more, none of that stuff, okay? So I had him on October 29th. My mother and my aunt came into town for Thanksgiving. They came in, they helped me, they did laundry, they did, running errands for me, like if I needed something. They just really came through in the clutch. My mom, she couldn't come as soon as I had the baby, but I am appreciative of when they were able to make it, because they stayed with me for quite a bit, and I really, really appreciate that. He cooked a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner for us. One thing I did tell y'all, he could kick his ass off. He really could. So he did that. We fellowshipped, we ate, we communed with one another, and then, they left. When they left, I pretty much was stuck, because I said, shit, my help gone now, because he was still getting up, he was still going to work, still getting up, still going to work. My sister ended up coming in town. Now, before I tell these details about this story, I want to make sure that y'all do understand that my sister is not a violent individual. Between the two of us, I can get with you. I really can. And my sister is the sweetest, most patient woman in the world. And this is also going to be hard for me to tell, because my sister has never, ever, ever seen me the way that she saw me that day. So my sister comes into town. I had a couple of visitors over when she was here, so that they could see the baby. Like I said, this is December 2020. We're still in COVID. So I had just a couple people over there. One night, I was on the phone with my cousin. Me and my cousin, we worked together. And me and my cousin, we were discussing something. And I am a big, big motivator, like encourager. And if you put that shit on, I'm gonna let you know you don't put that shit on. And my cousin, he a noob. So obviously I made some sort of, I can't get my words together today, y'all. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I gave him a compliment. I'm so sorry, y'all. My mind is, because I'm trying to get the story out. I complimented him on something. Obviously, my husband heard it over the phone. Now, he was cool with my cousin. So cool that my cousin was his best man at our little ceremony that we had. There was no rhyme or reason for why he decided to get upset. My husband came in. I said, babe, hey, I'm about to Uber eat some Popeyes. What you want from Popeyes? He was like, give me a minute. I'm going to let you know. I'm still on the phone with my cousin. I let my cousin go. Me and my sister, we're discussing a conversation that I had just had with my cousin. Jared walked back through, and he creates a whole scene. Who you was on the phone with, going in. And I said, what you got an attitude for? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So it's a misunderstanding in the house. Now, my sister here. One thing you're not going to do, you're not going to embarrass me in front of family. If there's an issue, let's go to the room. Let's talk about it. Don't act no fool in front of my sister, because you'll get your ass slapped. When it comes down to my folks, don't do that. So I look at him and I say, man, what the fuck wrong with this man? What is going on? So I look at my sister look at me, and I said, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's storming out the door. He got his book bag on. I'm leaving. I said, so where you going? I need some space. You need fucking space. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, what you upset about? So there was nothing for him to be upset about. Let me be clear. Whatever I was talking to my cousin about, it wasn't nothing for him to get upset about. Whatever me and my sister was talking about, it was nothing that could have offended him. He got so mad, he left the house, y'all. He left that house and did not come back that night. I told my sister, I said, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this shit, because I get up every night with his fucking baby. I'm going in. My sister is like, I know. And she calm as she can be. And I broke down in front of my fucking sister, man. I broke down in front of my sister, man. And I went in and I told her, I said, I don't deserve this shit. I done did a lot for this nigga, man. I done did a lot, And so my sister had never seen me get like that. She had never seen me get like that. And my sister held me, man. She held me up that night. I love her for that. I love her for that shit, man. I do. So I called him that night and I said, man, where you at? Where you at? Oh, I got a room. You got a room? I said, what you going to get a room for? I told you I need some fucking space. I need some space. So my mind is everywhere, because we just went from, babe, what you want from Popeyes, to you walking in acting a fool about something so small. And y'all, to be honest, I don't even remember what it was, but it wasn't nothing for him to get upset about. And he stormed out that door, and he did not come back that night. That next day, it might have been around 1 or 2 o'clock. I called his phone and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm at the barbershop. I said, you at the barbershop? One thing about him, that nigga went to the barbershop every week. I said, you coming home? He said, I don't know. I ain't thought about it yet. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to call your motherfucking mama and you can come get your shit out of my house. He said, bet. You don't never tell me bet. Part 12. after he told me over the phone he didn't really know when he was going to be coming back to the house, he also told me in that conversation that he had to go to work. So there was no way that he was coming back at that point in time when I needed him to. I don't know why I pushed the issue, but I did. And I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to call your mama. I called his mama. I said, are you at work today? She always had an attitude with me. Always. Never liked me. I said, are you at work today? And she said, no, I'm off, but what's up? I said, so I'm putting him out. I need you to probably come and get some of his things, because I'm at a point right now where if you don't come get it, I'm going to start putting it in trash bags, because I did put them in trash bags. And I said, I'm going to start throwing them down the stairs. And when it makes it outside, it's going to be up to all these neighbors to have a free pick of all these J's that I bought him, all the clothes that I bought him, watches that I've got him, just the things that I know for a fact that people would probably want for free. So if you don't want that to happen to your baby boy, you might want to come and pick it up. And I said it just like that. She said, babe, give me about an hour. I'll be over that way. Said it so calmly. What she didn't tell me was that she was going to be coming with a friend. And what she also didn't tell me is that she had contacted Jared and said, I'm on my way to that girl's apartment. You might want to meet me over there, because I'm also going to call the sheriff to accompany us. Why didn't you need the sheriff to come? I told y'all the bags was going to be at the door. You didn't need to bring nobody to me. So sheriffs come, they knock on the door. I ended up getting into a whole argument with her from the balcony. And we going back and forth. I'm calling her a bitch. She calling me a bitch. He shouldn't have never married your stupid ass. I told you that, I told him that you wasn't shit. I knew that you was going to do him wrong and all this type of shit. And I said, do him wrong? Bitch, I done paid for more shit than you probably done bought in your whole life. I went off. Everything that he had ever told me about her, about how, she was a young hoe, all that type of stuff, I had went off. I said, and Pop done told me, because I said his real name. I said, by the way, Pop told me that he didn't even know if Jared was his motherfucking baby back in the day with your whole ass. I'm going in, bro. I done went for the juggler. Do you hear me? And so she was like, he said that. She going in. That motherfucker ain't told you that. So I called him on the phone. I said, man, CC over here acting a fool. She over here, because now mind you, I'm going with the tag name. I said, CC over here acting a fool, bro. You better come get your baby mama before I kill her. I'm saying all types of stuff. And he was like, calm down, daughter, calm down. What he done did. I told Dad everything. Now I'm on the phone with him while I'm sitting on the balcony. She's still down there. Yeah, bitch, I bet you won't bring your ass outside. Now her friend hyping the shit up. She ain't gonna come with that fucked up ankle. They down there acting in. They going in. And I told her if I ever catch her in these streets, she ain't got to worry about it. There won't be no talking. It won't. So sheriffs pull up. They say, ma'am, we understand that you don't want to let her in, but please let him in, because he wants to verify that all of his things have been placed in these garbage bags. He want to make sure he want to do a walkthrough to make sure that nothing else in this house is his, because obviously you guys are about to go into a separation mode, and we are just here to make sure that he gets all of his things. I said, I have no problem with that. I go downstairs myself, because by this time, if I can remember correctly, I'm in a boot. This was in December now, so I go downstairs. And I let the sheriff in, and I let him in. And I slammed the door in the mama face. She, let me at that bitch. Acting a fool outside. Do you know that bitch had the audacity to get on top of my government car and start twerking? And her friend recorded it. Why would you do that? Just stupid. So he comes in. He goes through. And he said, I believe I got everything. He did take like something that was in the bathroom. It might have been like a bag that had like a cologne or something in it. But he pretty much took everything out of it. And then they left. And that was it. He did not say anything to me about the baby. The baby was actually in the home. He didn't kiss the baby. He didn't say, bye, son. None of that shit. Now, it's important to note, too, that when our baby came, he never really cared for our baby. But he always, and to this day, he still claims my oldest as his boy. He always cared about my oldest. Always. And he never really showed that type of love to the baby. I didn't pay attention to the red flag either. The reason that I felt like he really didn't pay attention to his own baby is because the baby looked exactly like him. I believe our baby just is a reflection of him. The baby looks exactly like him. I believe that's why. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I'm not in his head. So he leaves. We don't talk for a couple of days. I told my sister, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't get married to get divorced. None of us do. But I fucked up. I did. I told her, I said, I fucked up. And I don't know how to make it right. And she was encouraging. She was motivation for me. And she told me, she said, it's going to be all right. It all worked out in the end. It all worked out in the end. And she did not lie. Because it does. She got back on the plane. She left. And I was back at home by myself again. He contacted me and he told me, he said, and this was a few days past. He said, I've been doing some thinking. I was wrong. He said, I was mad about some other shit and I took it out on you. But I want to make things right. I want to come home. This had to be the dumbest thing that I could have ever done. I let that man come back home. He said, I've been saying it was like a Regency Inn. He FaceTimed me from the Regency Inn. He was at the room by himself. But I don't believe that he went to the Regency Inn just to be there by himself. I do believe that he was probably there with other women. I'll get into that shit later. But I told him, I said, I did not marry you for us to be going through, a divorce so soon and annulment at this point. Because, shit, it ain't even been 6 months at this point. I said, so Well, it had been. If it was December, yeah, it had been about 6 months. And I told him, I said, so I don't want to like go through a divorce. I'm willing to try if you're willing to try, but I need you to come home, bro. Like, what you doing? You know? And he was like, you know, I'm coming home. And he did. He came home. He put all of his things back in the place that it was. And then we continued to resume life that way. Part 14, the lies he told. So he comes back and we regroup. We resume our life. We get into another little spat because I found some stuff in his phone. Remember I told y'all previously about Erica. When he came back home, I looked through his phone. Most women look through messages. Most people look through pictures. Some people look through browser history. I look at bank statements. I look at Cash App. I look at Zelle. I look at all this shit. So I went through his Cash App. And Erica was named Erica in his phone. Picture was there and everything. The woman that he told me was a stalker bitch. She had requested a $40 Cash App. And the reason for the Cash App was wasted gas. This was on one of the nights that he claimed that he was staying in the Regency Inn. On top of that, I found messages with them. And she was saying, you know, why you didn't answer the phone? What the fuck you doing? You want me to come or not? So it was obvious at this point that he was cheating on me. I confronted him about it. I said, why was she requesting $40 for gas, for wasted gas? I said, where was she coming to? He said, I told you that bitch crazy. I said, well, what about the text messages? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, open up your phone right now. Let me show you because I seen the shit this morning. When that man opened up their phone, the messages were gone. Completely gone. I said, so you wiped your whole fucking phone clean when you got up? Damn, that's crazy. You must have knew I had went through your shit. He was like, why the fuck you going through my phone anyway? I said, why the fuck is bitches requesting $40 for wasted gas? Why? And why would it be the stalker bitch? That's not making any sense to me, Jared. I don't understand. So we had a spat right before Christmas. We got into it real bad. And so he woke up on Christmas Eve and he said, let's get out of here and let's take the baby down to my dad in Lufkin. We left that morning. And I was so excited to see Pop because I told y'all that's the realest nigga that ever was born. I got down there and at this point, y'all, my mind, my body, I was just in a different world. Because at this point, I realized that I was going through postpartum depression. And I was also having some thoughts. And you guys know what kind of thoughts. Because I was dealing with a baby full time, basically on my own. I was dealing with shit in the marriage with him. Found out he was cheating. And then it really wasn't nothing that I could do to wrap my head around how the hell I got here so fast. Because I'm telling y'all, I did the dumbest shit in the world. All of this shit, now that I'm replaying this back and telling y'all my story, this is some shit that you see and that you look at the next woman and be like, girl, I'm so glad that ain't me. But it was me. And it hurt, man. Because all of this could have been prevented if I didn't even call that damn place back. It's my fault. It's my fault. So we go down there to his dad. And, you know, his dad is so happy. We got pictures of him holding the baby. And he's so sweet. He's so sweet. And so we stay down there. And we get a hotel and everything. And we stay down there with them. We come back. He goes back to work. Things happen like usual. On December 30th. This definitely ain't gonna look too good for me. On December 30th. I went to Don McGill Toyota in Katy. He had been driving my 2018 RAV4 so much back and forth to Sugar Land. I noticed that when he would put a vehicle, whether it was mine or his, in reverse, before it would stop rolling back, he would hike it and drive. So therefore, you know, it would, you know, it's like a bounce thing. I know that this bad for your car. I don't know nothing about cars, but I know that's pretty bad for your car. So it felt like my truck started missing all of a sudden. So I told him, I said, hey, I'm gonna go. Me and the baby, we're gonna go down to Don McGill, and I'm gonna see if I can get another truck. He said, okay, all right, let me know, babe. He was at work, or allegedly at work. I go down to Don McGill. I'm down there 4 hours tops. I come out with a brand new 2021 Toyota RAV4. Beautiful. I get home, park it in the garage. I said, babe, I got a new truck. You know, life was, at that point, in my opinion, my life was going okay. It wasn't the greatest, but it was okay. I had my husband, half of a husband. I had a new truck. I had a new baby. You know, my oldest was on point. Like, you know, everything was everything. He's still paying bills, y'all. Still paying the bills. So he comes home and he was like, babe, I'm so glad you got a new vehicle. He said, because to be honest with you, my shit is on his last leg. Now, he had a 2018, maybe, Nissan Altima. It might not even been 18. It might have been like a 16 or 17. It was older. I remember it. It smelled like weed because he smoked. You know, it was pretty raggedy because he got it from Shabana Motors. And so I said, how about you go to work tomorrow and I'm gonna go back down to Don McGill. He said, okay. So I go back down to Don McGill and I said, hey, my husband need a vehicle. They said, okay, what kind of vehicle does he have? I said, he has a 20 whatever Toyota Nissan Altima. I said, he said, well, you know, can he bring it in? So he brings it in. He worked at morning shift, so he brought it in. And they took a look at it and they said, you know, we can get you in a car today if you want to. He said, okay, cool. Now mind y'all, in one of those parts, I told y'all his credit was outstanding, allegedly. We get there. He gets there. They examine the car. They tell him, we can only give you, I think it was like $7,000 for the car. He was like, okay, that's better than nothing. He said, so we're going to get you to, you know, fill out this paperwork or whatever. You know, everything's electronic or whatever. He said, but, you know, let's see what your credit come back is. His credit came back at a whopping 437. I was in shock. I said, how your credit score of 437 and you just said a couple months ago you ready to get a house and you told me at the beginning that your credit was outstanding, nigga. And he was like, yeah, a couple of my hospital bills that hit me these past couple of months. I said, hospital bills? He said, yeah, I got some old hospital bills from when I had my gastric sleeve that ain't been paid. So they just hitting my, you know, they hit my credit. I said, okay. I said, so now what? He said, babe, I ain't gonna even lie to you. I ain't gonna cap. I really do need another car. Y'all know exactly what's next. I co-signed for that man to get a brand new 2021 Toyota Camry. I really wish I still had the picture so that I could show y'all the picture of us with 2 red bows on those vehicles. Both black, both brand new, no miles on it. Now we're moving to the next part.